This is my game collection, inspired by Mr. Public 36's comment. Let's get right into it. The Nintendo Entertainment System is what I consider the first ever gaming console in my opinion. Here, the cartridge reader or drive or whatever you want to call it is broken, so sadly I cannot play any of the classic NES games. Now, let's move on to the next game console. Also, there will be a counter in the corner listing how many game consoles I do have, which was missing in the last video of my game collection. Now, for real this time, let's move on to the next console. The Super Nintendo, or for a shorter name, the SNES. And it was a big improvement on the NES, being, I think it was 16-bit. Also, they went and explored a little bit with this one, having Mario Paint on there, which it's a painting program. You could also make music in it. There will be an image of the game on screen. You can also see that I do own this game in my game collection video. Now let's move on to the next console. This is the Super Nintendo. Nintendo's official leap into 3D. It has games like Super Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, and the first 3 Mario Party games that started the Mario Party series. One of my favorite consoles, I play it often, and just to say, the Super Smash Bros. For the N64 is a phenomenal game. Let's move on to the next console. This is the Nintendo GameCube. It didn't sell very well. I do own it. The intro is iconic. And that's the Nintendo GameCube. Let's move on to the next console. Here we have the Nintendo Wii. It played GameCube games as well as introduced motion controls. The Wii's hardware was way in front of its time in my opinion, to where everybody was copying it from Xbox with the Xbox 360 Kinect. And yeah, that's the Wii, one of my favorite consoles. I think it's one of the first consoles I've ever actually played. Let's move on to the next console. This is the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo's newest console, but they recently announced the Switch 2. I don't own the Wii U, but excluding that, let's move on to the Xbox consoles. The original Xbox, first ever system they created, and of course, I think it was one of the first systems to not need a memory card, as the GameCube, the PlayStation 1, and the PlayStation 2 needed one. But at the same time, this thing is very, very bulky. Now, let's move on to the next console in the Xbox lineup. Next up here, we have the Xbox Series 1X. The reason that this one isn't on the mat is because, well, it's set up to my TV currently, and I use it daily. And so, let's move on to the PlayStation. I own the PlayStation 2 Slim, but I couldn't find it. It's definitely in my storage bins full of all the rest of my games. Is the PlayStation 5. We skipped the 3, 4 in the lineup, and 1 because I don't own it. I do own the PS5. The lighting's not going to be good here because this is in my basement, of course. We, of course, have the stand, a lot of games for it. But let's move on to the handheld lineup. The handhelds I own: the Game Boy Color, the Nintendo DSi XL, the Nintendo DS Lite, and the original Nintendo Game Boy. In my other video of my game collection, it's not exactly correct anymore because right after I posted that video, I went to my local retro game store and picked up these gems here. Sonic Riders for the GameCube, Sonic Colors Wii, and Sonic Mega Collection. So, now I have 3 extra games in my collection, and this is my console collection. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.